Hello everybody, Kenny Shepard here from the Madera Speedway. You know, we take a lot of pride in the program that we have built at Madera to showcase the top talent in the country from the Madera Speedway on our MAV TV show. And we're very proud to sponsor this iRacing series for our stars from the Madera Speedway to compete against other top talent from all over the country. We look forward to seeing everyone very soon as we get the season kicked off at the Madera Speedway. Until then, have fun and be safe.
Last week, Southern California's Austin Edwards dominated a field of 30-plus drivers, leading flag to flag in the inaugural Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSport Series presented by Madera Speedway event. Tonight, Edwards looks to defend his points lead at one of the most prestigious short tracks in the country, Florida's Five Flags Speedway. It's round number 2 of the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSports Series presented by Madera Speedway, and it's live right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, I'm Jason Galvin alongside iRacing eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series driver Christian Challoner. Sean Ambrose is directing tonight. Dougie Beard turning the knobs on the cameras for us. And Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, home to some of the best short track talent in America. And it includes a member of tonight's race, Grant Thompson. Why don't we take a look at this exciting track with our GSRC lap guy.
Welcome to Five Flags. This half-mile paved oval opened in 1953. Five Flags Speedway takes its name from its proximity to Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida is known as the City of Five Flags, which references the fact that it is 5 governments that have ruled the city. Five Flags is one of the fastest short tracks in America, thanks in part to its 15 degrees of banking and the wide turns that give the track a nearly circular configuration. You never have a chance to rest at Five Flags with the speeds that you carry and the close quarters that you always find yourself in. Five Flags is also very bumpy. Managing the bumps is one of the keys to victory here. Turn 1 is tricky. You carry a lot of momentum off of turn 4, and you have to try to roll the car down and get down into the corner. And the fastest way around the track is about 4 inches away from that pit wall. Things happen fast at Five Flags, with most of the lap times averaging around the 16-second mark. Fast track, fast cars, amazing action. All of these are what Five Flags is known for, and just the type of racing that you are going to see today. So stay tuned, buckle in, and enjoy the race.
And as we welcome back in, the driver of the number 37 JTG Daugherty Racing entering the Coca-Cola NASCAR Series here on iRacing, Christian Challoner in the booth with me tonight. And Christian, last week we were at the Bull Ring. Tonight, as we're qualifying here, we're at Five Flags Speedway, and what a track this is.
Yeah, this is one of the best short tracks that there is on iRacing and in the real world as well. So last week we had a little bit of a single lane racetrack with the Bull Ring, made passing quite difficult. Tonight we're at Five Flags. Does tend to widen out to a 2-lane track here on iRacing, so hope to see that upper lane working a lot better than it did last week, and hopefully we'll see a lot of 2-wide racing throughout the night.
And Christian, as we take a look here at qualifying, there are some changes to the series details from 1 week ago. As this is round number 2, 100 laps tonight, and the lucky dog is in effect along with 2 green-white checkers. It's a custom fixed setup. They upped the incident limit from 17 to 24 for this race in the main event, but they've also added heat races and a last chance qualifier, which should make things awfully interesting here tonight. So that's why we're qualifying a bit early, and we are going to run heat races here tonight. 3 heat races, in fact. And the top 6 finishers from each race will head on to the main event of this race here tonight. And then there'll be a last chance qualifier. The heats are 15 laps. The last chance qualifier is 10 laps long. And the LCQ will also take the top 6 finishers. Yellow flag laps will not count in either the heats or in the LCQ. And we'll start 24 cars in that main event when yellow flags will fly. So Christian, now that you know that we have heat races this week versus last and an LCQ, how does that kind of change your strategy as a driver?
Well, I think as with last week, it still puts premium on qualifying because obviously if you start at the front of those heats, your life is much easier when it comes to advancing through to the main. And likewise, you don't really want to be in that last chance qualifier because even if you do make it through, you're still going to be starting at the tail end. That said, it should hopefully reduce a little bit of the chaos that we saw last week, especially with kind of 24 going through to the main instead of the entire field going through. It makes it a little bit less daunting for guys to cut through the field.
And we do have a couple of awards in this series that we want to remind everybody about, including the Victory Custom Trailer Fast Time Award. And as qualifying is about to come to an end, that Fast Time Award is going to go to, for the second consecutive week, Austin Edwards, the first place ace with a 16.709 second qualifying run. So that's 2 races and 2 poles for Austin Edwards, who was dominant here at the bull ring, rather, in our opening round event 1 week ago, as the field gets ready to grid for the first of our heat races. And let's take you through the starting lineup here for heat race number 1. And it'll be Elvis Rankin and Jay Juleson who will start, or pardon me, I'm looking at heat race number 2. Heat race number 1, Austin Edwards, your quick time winner, and Nick Loden on the front row.
Now in row 2, we've got Jaden Walbridge and Landon Lewis.
Row number 3 is Cameron Bolin and Rob Kiemely.
I mean, on a row 4, we've got Jacob Putman and Grant Thompson. We'll have to see what they can do from about the mid-pack of this heat there.
And this is Grant Thompson's home racetrack. Row number 5 is William Cox III, who was a top 5 finisher a week ago, and Carson Lewis.
Just missing out in the top 10, we got Dominic Carter lining up alongside Katie Hedinger in 12th.
And Joe Valento and Brody Moore will bring up row number 7.
Then bringing up the last full row, we've got Casey Cash and Barrett Palmers starting at the back again this week. He charged through the field last week, and hopefully he can do the same this week.
And Braden Connor back there starting in the 17th spot. So here we go. Field is rolling. There's supposed to be 3 heat races was the original plan, but I'm not sure we have enough cars for that here. So we're going 2 heat races and the main event. So I'm going to work on figuring out how that's going to play out as far as who actually gets in to the main events based on these 2 heats here. It is a change to how this was supposed to play out here, Christian.
Yeah, it looks like because there's not quite enough people to split the field evenly between 3 heat races, we're just going to be doing 2, and obviously that's going to force people to be a bit more aggressive towards the back end of the field. Only 15 laps in the heat, so if you are Barrett Palmers, you really got to get going here to make sure that you do advance through to the main.
And a reminder that these are real-life junior late model stars, ages 10 to 16 years of age. They race junior late models, limited late models. We have some super sprint drivers in here as well. Raceface brand development helping to put on this event along with Madera Speedway and Mobil 1. And the pace car will peel off here in turn 3 at 5 Flags Speedway. And it's the first place ace, Austin Edwards, who will bring us to the green. And we are underway with our first heat race here at 5 Flags. And boy, that took approximately 0.1 seconds for Katie Hedinger to bring out the opening caution.
Yeah, it looked like Austin Edwards was really holding the green there, and the guys at the back were already kind of going.
Take another look here with our GSRC replay. And Hedinger gets kind of checked up and then upended. And it looked like that might have been Brody Moore in the 78 car that got into the back of Hedinger, and our first caution of the night comes right over.
Definitely not the start that these guys would have wanted there. Obviously a lot of cars at the back with damage, and it was already going to be difficult for them to cut through the field, and now they've just made their task even harder, taking some laps off the race here and also damaging their own cars.
We We do have some drivers in this event tonight who are running with names of their parents. Obviously, we mentioned 10 to 16 years of age. Not everybody has their own accounts on here, so we'll do our best to keep you kind of updated here throughout the evening and let you know who is who. So, for instance, in this race, we announced Rob Kienle, and that is, in fact, his son, Cody Kienle, who races primarily down at Orange Coast Speedway, Southern California, has also run at Irwindale and up at Madera in the Junior Late Model Series. And Cody, a big-time runner in Bandolero competition before moving up into the late models. His father, Rob, is the namesake on the account being used here tonight, is also a long-time late model, super late model competitor in Southern California at Orange Show and Irwindale, among other tracks as well. On board with Kienle here. 33 car for Cody this week. Again, there'll be some drivers throughout the night who are using their parents' names in their accounts. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And remember, we're not counting caution laps here, but we do have a 10-minute limit on these heat races. So that could adversely affect the opportunity for some of these drivers to get through the field as well. Still waiting to see if we can get an answer on how many cars are going to transfer from the heats here. Looks like we're still going to get 6 cars from each heat that are going to transfer into the 24-race main event. And that would mean that we would have 12 cars from the LCQ that would move on. So that certainly changes things, Christian, as the green flag comes back out. We've got more cars bouncing off each other at the back of the pack already. Braden Connor having some problems back there with Casey Cash. This time we do get through turns 1 and 2. So far, nice and clean down the back straight for the first time here at Five Flags. And Austin Edwards has opened himself up a pretty comfortable lead already over Nick Loden. And we got some smoke coming out the back there. I don't know if that was connection or a spin. Looks like everybody's through for now. Grant Thompson bouncing around back there with Dominic Carter. Joe Valento has some damage as well. So Christian, this has already turned into kind of a slugfest at the back of the pack.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys being really, really aggressive at the back of the field, and honestly, I'm not really sure why. As we said, 6 advance, so if you're outside of the top 6, especially if you stay back in that 15th or so spot, there's really no need to be that aggressive back there. And obviously, it is time limited, as we saw with that first yellow. It's taking up a lot of time in this heat.
On board with Jaden Walbridge. Looking back at Jaden Walbridge, actually on the back bumper of Nick Loden right now. Jaden Walbridge was awfully racy a week ago with the bull ring. Nick Loden we didn't hear a lot from, but the Carolina driver holding his own right now in second place here as we've moved to the East Coast in Five Flags Speedway, a track he's probably a little more familiar with than the bull ring at Las Vegas.
Yeah, we did think that we might see a little bit of change in form this week. The one person we've not seen any change in form with is Austin Edwards. He's just picking up where he left off last week. He's pulled out to a near 0.8 second lead already.
Caution out on lap number 8 here. And Camille who goes around. And on the pit road, and boy, Cody just got a big piece of the wall. And the front stretch here, Christian, that's one thing we didn't talk about a whole lot when looking at this racetrack. There's a whole lot of room to the inside in 1 and 2 and down the back straight, but as soon as that pit wall starts, not a lot of room for air.
Yeah, and we do see a couple of times where drivers will struggle to get the car turned as they're coming onto that front stretch, and they'll end up, as we saw there, right up by the wall, and unfortunately sometimes they will clip the wall, and it does have a tendency to spin you down towards the bottom of the track. I think that'll be a bigger factor, especially when we get through to the main and we've got more cars on track, but we're already seeing it as a problem here in the heat.
working the caution laps here, and again a reminder, the yellows are not counted during the heat races, but there's a 10-minute time limit that we can't really see from the broadcast booth position, but the drivers can certainly be kept appraised of it. I've got to imagine you're coming up close on that here to where we're either going to get ourselves a 2-lap sprint to the finish, or caution's going to come out, and that'll probably be the end of this heat race.
Just looking at my my own stopwatch here, it does look like we're within about 2 minutes to go of the heat time, so I don't think we're going to get too many laps under green here. As you said, maybe 1 or 2. We'll just have to see when they go back green.
I see race control talking right now, but unable to hear them, so I'm wondering if they're informing the drivers of the same thing, which is you get 1 restart here to get to the finish, or the time is going to run out on this heat race. A little surprised the lights haven't come off on the pace car yet either. And there they go as they double up. It'll be green next time by with Austin Edwards and Nick Loden on the front row.
It is a double file restart as well, and obviously with only 1 to 2 laps left in this heat, there's going to be a huge fight for that last transfer spot in 6th place. It was being held down pretty good by William Cox, but he's now on their top side. He might get past on the bottom here pretty easily.
Pace car peels off. Austin Edwards takes the green flag, and off they go. And Edwards was late to the throttle there. Remember, they have to go on the iRacing flagman's green flag. Edwards takes the lead. Here comes Walbridge to the inside of Loden. Battle for 2nd place here in heat race number 1. Walbridge down low is going to get around Loden and clear him up off of turn number 4. Now the battle for 3rd. Landon Lewis sticks his nose up there. Remember, Landon Lewis looked so racy last week, and then boom, had that connection issue on lap 1 and caused a big wreck at the bull ring, trying to redeem himself here this weekend. And it's Austin Edwards who will bring it up off of turn number 4 and cross the stripe here and work lap number 11 of this 15-lap heat race here. Edwards, Walbridge, boy, Loden way up high, Nick. That's not the racing groove, Christian.
Yeah, and that's going to put him in real danger of falling outside of that transfer spot right there. Stuck on the top side now, unable to get back to the bottom.
Boy, almost caught a piece of the wall off of 4. It's the 22 of Carter that goes around Nick Loden from 2nd to 8th in 2 laps, and now he doors Grant Thompson. That's Palmers, pardon me. Boy, Barrett Palmers, who's worked his way up through the field into 9th, and now 8th, and Barrett's right there trying to force his way into a transfer spot with 2 to go.
Yeah, we talked about Palmers, and he qualified in the back last week, but raced his way forwards pretty quickly, and he's trying to do the same here again this week. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough time to get himself into a transfer spot, though, before the end of this heat.
Austin Edwards off of turn number 4 comes around, leading this race over Walbridge and Lewis. They have checked out on 4th place Cameron Boland.
Just had a little bit of action in the mid-pack there. Jacob
Oh,
Putman
trouble!
nearly went
22
around.
is around, and Loden's in it as well. Loden up into the wall. The 22 of Carter got turned. Loden still chasing it, and a big wreck down the front stretch with Loden, and the 1 car is in it as well. Nick Loden and Casey Cash both hammer the inside wall. And that is how this heat race is going to come to an end. So Austin Edwards will take the win. I think the heat race timed out as they took the checkered flag there, which is the abrupt ending. The official finishing order to that heat race is Austin Edwards over Jaden Walbridge, Landon Lewis, Cameron Boland, William Cox, and Barrett Palmers. That's the top 6. We know for sure they're in. The rest of it all is going to have to work out behind them as to who actually transfers in from the heats versus the last chance qualifier. Let's take a look at your starting lineup now for heat race number 2 here in the Mobil 1 eSports Junior Late Model Series presented by Madera Speedway. And on the front row, it's Elvis Rankin out of New Mexico and the iRacing star turned junior late model driver, Jay Juleson out of Northern California.
And then on row 2, we got the contenders from last week. We got Robbie Keneally and Bradley Erickson. We saw them put on a good show last week at the Bull Ring, and I expect that we'll see the same again this week.
Row number 3, Kobe Sokol and the 2019 Madera Speedway Junior Late Model Championship runner-up, Seth Wise.
And next row back, we've got Josh Cossack. He made some big moves last week. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the race, but one of the most aggressive drivers cutting his way through the pack starts the night in seventh place. Alongside him, we got Cade McClenny.
Row number 5 is Bryson Ruff, and it'll be Holly Clark who gets the start in the 10th spot.
Picking up the row behind them, we've got Cassidy Hines and Cade Brown.
Row number 11, or row number 7, I should say, and we're heading back to Joey Stearns and Kersey Young. Kersey got her own account this week. It's great to see.
And picking up the last full row, we've got Randy Haig and Eric Nascimento, another big mover from last week.
And it's not going to be Logan Seavey, despite what pops up on your screen there as the final starter. So 16 cars will start here. Logan Seavey, the USAC National Midget Star, who is one of the race admins in this series. And Randy Hagee, who's starting at the back there, is actually Calvin Hagee. So we mentioned that we would have some drivers who had names need to be corrected. Calvin, one of them, his father Randy running that account. His pace car peels off, and Elvis Rankin will lead us to the green with Jay Jules into his outside. This time we do get all the cars across the start-finish line at least. And they're already 3 wide at the back of the pack. It was Hagee who made a heck of a move to pick off 2 or 3 spots already.
Yeah, much cleaner restart in this heat race than we had in the first one. Everybody making it through the first lap okay so far.
It's Elvis Rankin out in front. First cars side by side get back there about 5th, 6th place. Erickson's in there, stuck up on the outside, and that's not where Bradley Erickson wants to be. He's going the wrong direction right now.
And we talked a little bit about the top side coming in, and it definitely will do so in the main with the full 100 laps, but until we see a lot of rubber down on the track, it's still going to be difficult to get that top line working, especially in these heats.
Whoa, we got a car spun around. Eric Nascimento, don't do that, buddy. Oh, Erickson's around. Big wreck, turn 1. Hagee's in it as well. They're still bouncing off each other. Kersey Young, 87 of Seth Wise was in it. It started with Bradley Erickson, who has free-falled since the start of this race. He got turned around, and from there the chaos was on. It was Erickson and McClenny. Boy, tried to be 3 wide with Erickson, McClenny, and the car that's shown as the 4 car. That's a custom numbers. Trying to figure out who that is here. Boy, that got ugly fast.
So Erickson trying to shoot the middle there and just not able to do that. I had a car underneath him and then get turned midway down the straightaway, and everybody behind just piled in.
The 4 that you see on screen is in iRacing, at least, listed as the 6th car of Josh Cossack, the North Carolina driver. He was the outside bun in the sandwich there, so to speak, and got away from it scot-free, but a whole bunch of other drivers did not. There's fast repair involved here in the heat races as well. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more cars come down and take it. Specifically, Kersey Young, the right front of that young lady's race car is destroyed. Calvin Hagee, who is running around right now, Calvin's running around looking like the choo-choo train smoking.
Yeah, really surprised to see him not come down pit road. Obviously, that's not going to last long running out there like that. And as you say, they do hit that fast repair, so I'm really surprised why he hasn't come down to take that.
Working lap number 4. Remember, caution flag laps do not count here on the heats. And boy, Calvin Hagee just lost the motor and caused a pile up with 3 other cars as well in turn 1. So now even more cars have damage, and Calvin Hagee moves to pit row where he's taken his tow. And boy, maybe they don't have fast repairs here in the heat. Calvin just jumped on and said, good luck, guys. So he's just hanging on. Maybe Calvin just doesn't realize he has it.
Yeah, that's something that we do see at times where drivers forget that they have that fast repair. It's easy to do, especially if you've been involved in a wreck, and unfortunately lost the motor there, so don't think we'll be seeing him for the rest of this heat now.
Still waiting for the lights to click off of that Mustang iRacing pace car. Elvis Rankin leading Jay Juleson. Robbie Keneally, Colby Sokol, Bryson Ruff, and Josh Cossack. Your top 6, and those are assured to move into the main event.
We see that Bradley Erickson is going to be starting on the inside in 7th, so he's going to want to make some moves and get himself back inside those transfer spots. Obviously not the initial start that he would have wanted.
Pace car peels off. That blue and gold 54 of Elvis Rankin leads the field. Boy, I think Elvis wanted to go and remembered, I got to go on the iRacing green. He still might have gone a little early. We'll see how Racing People feels about that. Green flag back out on lap number 5, and it's Rankin leading Juleson, who gives up the bottom to Keneally. I don't know if I would have done that, Christian.
Yeah, I definitely would not have given up the bottom, especially not in the heat race.
Oh, huge wreck. Somebody went hard into the outside wall in turns 3 and 4. And it's Colby Sokol, 24 car, and that was massive. And did he get some help from Cossack?
I believe he did. It looked like Cossack was pretty close to him on entry, and then running into 3. Yep, you see him just tap the rear bumper of Colby, and unfortunately he went straight around and into the wall.
Colby had that saved for about 0.2 seconds, and then it was off to the races. On board, Colby Sokol here. One big bump, and the Colorado native is into the outside wall very hard. The 600 micro sprint and junior sprint driver. He's a USAC QMA national champion, quarter midgets. Trying to make his way up through the junior late model ranks, but he's going to have to sit on pit road for some time here. Calvin Hedgie did get back out onto the track, so he finally figured out that he did have a fast repair, and in fact, Calvin's actually on the lead lap as well. So an outside shot at getting through the field here with still 11 laps technically left, although we're going to run up here on the time limit of this race here pretty quick. Looks like we are 8 minutes into the 10-minute timed event here, so it means there's almost no way we're actually going to get to the checkered flag of this one on laps, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Definitely got to keep an eye on the time limit. In agreement, I don't think we're going to run this out in terms of laps. Obviously, if we have another yellow, that will pretty much end it.
Well, how about Seth Wise back there? I wonder if Director Sean can get a look at that. Seth last week ran a car that looked like his junior late model car. There it is. This week he's going with the, I don't know if that's like a Days of Thunder tribute car there. Somebody should tell Seth that, they have Days of Thunder cars on Trading Paints he could have gone and got, but that's a pretty creative one on top of that there. It looks a lot like a car that Cole Trickle would have driven Days of Thunder right now. All 4 corners of it kind of beat up. Fresh out of the middle scene of the movie when they're eating ice cream on pit road.
And he's definitely had a rough time so far, but with that bright green machine, he's definitely there to be seen.
Lights are out on the Mustang pace car. Double file. Here we go. And the timer is clicking down. Tick, 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 tick. Pace car peels off. And you can see the sun going down here at the virtual 5 Flag Speedway. Green flag back out. Elvis Rankin and Jay Juleson was all over that restart. Tried to clear Keneally into 1, couldn't do it. They're side by side for second place off turn 2. Back down the back straightaway. There's going to be a whale of a battle there for the 6th and final transfer spot, at least the final official transfer spot that we know about, as they cross the stripe right now. And it's going to be Bradley Erickson, who's actually worked his way up with that fast repair into the final transfer spot. You see him as the 22 car on your screen. He shows up in timing and scoring orange. 32, and we're wrecking. And Erickson got a little piece of that. Right behind him, though, it was Ruff, McClenny. Boy, Cassidy Hines came in there with the ARCA brake on somebody. And Eric Nascimento sneaks through. Bryson Ruff is in it. Jay Juleson, our runner-up a week ago was the first car around, and it was Ericsson who turned him.
So Jaden Juleson running the top side, stuck up there, and you see Ericsson trying to get underneath him. And
pardon me, that's Bryson Ruff who turns him, Christian.
yeah, you see Ericsson there in the 22 actually sneaking through on the bottom, and Bryson Ruff went around as well in that incident. So both parties having a bad outcome to that.
When I think Calvin Hedgie just, he might have just got incident point DQ'd from this heat race. Kobe Sokol got into him while they were pacing, and I heard Calvin come over the microphone not very happy with the 24 car of Sokol, and then his car disappeared. So Calvin is officially out of this heat race, which means live to see another day in the main event.
That's pretty surprising to see a driver actually reaching that incident limit. Is really quite high, and thought it'd be more than sufficient for the main. I didn't expect anybody to be reaching it in the heat races, especially in only 15 laps.
They're down, I think, to 17 inks in the heat is what they advertise. But if 24, that's even more shocking that somebody would be there already. Only on lap 7 here. This is the final lap, so they have timed out, and they're going to come across the stripe here, and Elvis Rankin is going to pick up the win in the 54 car. So it'll be officially Rankin, Keneally, trying to figure out third here because timing and scoring has Jay Juleson, but that doesn't feel right. They're going to have some things to sort out. Jay Juleson was part of that wreck and is listed as third officially on the standings here. So I think they're going to have to reset things when this race goes final. I'm actually going to give them one more lap to come around here, and that might actually fix our problems. Instead, we're actually going to go green again, looks like.
Yeah, quite surprising that we're actually going to go green. We're well over the time limit at this point.
Here we go. Rankin and Keneally, your front row. Pace car peels off. Green flag back out. Rankin got a good jump. Boy, but right behind him there, all over him on that restart, was Josh Cossack, and Cossack takes the lead, and Rankin gets shuffled high 3 wide. Ericsson up to second. From wrecked to second place, here comes Keneally. Battle for the lead, and it's Cossack over Ericsson, and they wreck into one, but that was the checker, we do believe. And the caution flag will fly either way. And that was indeed to the checkered flag. But because they're timing out, it's causing kind of abrupt finishes there. So every car across the stripe, and we abruptly finish. Boy, and then one of the Sokols just dropped at the end of that, but it wasn't Colby who officially finishes 5th. So Elvis Rankin over Jay Juleson, Keneally, Ericsson, Sokol, and Seth Wise somehow drove up to 6th in that heat race. Let's take a look at the LCQ starting lineup here. And there's going to be 21 cars in the last chance qualifier. 12 cars will advance. Yowzers. So here we go as the LCQ rolls, and it's a 10-lap LCQ. And your front row will be Jacob Putman and Holly Clark.
Bringing up row 2, we got Grant Thompson and Bryson Ruff. Bryson Ruff we saw has some good pace, but unfortunately not able to get to the flag.
And Cody Keemley, same with some pace, but also involved in a wreck, and Cade Brown in row 3.
And on row 4, we got Joe Valento and Casey Young.
Dominic Carter and Jay Juleson's got to come from 10th through the field here.
Behind them, we got Nick Loden, another driver who had good speed in heats, not able to finish them though. And alongside him, we got Cassidy Hines.
Casey Cash and then Colby Sokol, another car with great speed, starting 14.
We got Braden Connor and Joey Stearns pulling up the next row.
And then Katie Hedinger and Eric Nasameno.
And then Brody Moore and not Logan Seavey, I believe Carson Lucas will be on that row.
Carson Lucas should be the 20th and final cars. My apologies. Not 21, 20 cars because of the Logan Seavey entrance in here, although he's not racing. Pace car pulls off, and the leader blinks out as the green comes. That's Putman. See if that causes any problems as we're off into turn number 1, and we're already stacking up 3/4 of the field.
And it just looks like the mid-pack cannot get away cleanly. And we've seen it in the heat races. I'm not sure whether it's just the go on green that's catching them out, but they're just struggling so badly to get away clean in the middle of the pack.
That is going to be several cars involved in that wreck. Casey Cash, I see, with a lot of damage back there in the one car. Was right in the front of that, actually. And it started with Nick Loden, it appears. Boy, Nick Loden's night has gone from bad to worse to super bad. Loden got too good of a jump on the restart and then moved down a lane, and Casey Cash was in full send mode, trying to take that opportunity, and Loden moved right back up, and Cash was there, and the three of them got together with Cassidy Hines, and that's where that all started. So 10th on back, essentially involved in that crash. Trying to see if anybody actually got through there scot-free, and I think the answer is no. You started 11th or worse, you were involved in that accident. Braden Connor is down on pit road. He had to take a tow, so that could be problematic. Nick Loden has come into pit as well, and we'll see if Loden takes his fast repair. He does. So already Connor and Loden both using up their fast repairs.
Really not the start that Loden would have wanted. Obviously started second in his heat race, and the night's just not gone the way that he would have liked. Now he has taken his fast repair. He will have a clean car for the rest of this heat, but obviously starting at the back, it's definitely not been the place you want to be, and we've seen a lot of wrecks in that middle, so it's going to be tough for him to get forwards and not get caught up in another incident.
So here we go as they continue pacing here. It looks like they're going to get one more pace lap at least. I just saw somebody get the wave around. It was Casey Cash. I'm not really sure why Casey would have been a lap down already unless he was just parked there and not going to come take the fast repair. Boy, Casey Cash's car, I don't know if we can switch to his real quick here. That car looks like a modified, and we're late model racing, so that's going to be interesting as he catches back up to the back of the pack here. Casey's got all four tires exposed out the side of that race car here, Christian.
Yeah, and I was keeping an eye on Casey Cash, and it looked like he came down to pit road to get some repairs. Not take that fast repair, just get some regular repairs on the car. Obviously not able to get that beaten out completely back to how it was. I believe that's how he managed to lose a lap. It didn't look like he beat the pace car out.
Lights are out, and we're double file, and the pace car peels off, and here we go. Flag flies. Let's see if we get clean into turn one this time. Everything good, but a little bumper action up front, and the leader's in trouble. What happened there? Putman going the wrong way. It's almost like he missed a shift or something. Somebody stuck way up high. We're 3 wide. That's not going to work circuit. We're wrecking down the front stretch, and another massive, and I mean massive, pile up.
At least 10 cars piled into that. It just looked like Putman just had a moment in 1 and 2, and that carried all the way around through 3 and 4, never able to actually get back down into the racing groove, and stuck him on the top, and a big wreck down the front stretch.
Putman's actually going to end up being maybe the biggest beneficiary of this entire deal, because he was heading the wrong direction real quick, and that wreck just took out a ton of good cars. And I mean, Jay Juleson, Holly Clark, Joe Valento, Kobe Sokol's in it. So Juleson and Sokol both going to be in need of their fast repairs. Nick Loden stuck back there again. Boy, you feel for Nick Loden. Nick Loden, do yourself a favor. I know you're probably not old enough, but tell your parents probably not the night to buy a lotto ticket. He did, however, take a fast repair there, so I guess they have 2 fast repairs in the LCQ here. So maybe some of these drivers will be okay.
And that is really the only saving grace that these guys have right now, is that they're able to come down and get that fast repair. But they will run out of them eventually, and once again, they're really running the clock down pretty quick. It says obviously 9 to go on screen, but we're almost 8 minutes into this heat already, and it is only supposed to be a 10-minute heat.
Trying to sort out at the back of the pack here who is used up on fast repair. Timing and scoring system I use usually shows instant points. It's not showing it here, so unsure exactly. Kind of give us an idea on who perhaps has been forced to use them so far. I tell you, there are some cars back of the pack, Christian, who have a lot of damage still. Carson Lucas is one of them in the Lucas Oil car. Back of that race car totally smashed in. Brody Moore in that highlighter yellow 78 car back there. The entire right side of that car is pretty much destroyed for Brody Moore. And also Dominic Carter has a little bit of damage as well. And I tell you what, somebody to keep an eye on as they double file here. Kobe Sokol in the 24 car is going to restart in the 8th position, and that car is super beat up.
Another driver who's had a rough night so far. Obviously, we saw him get turned into the wall in that heat race, and now again out there looking like a modified once more, but he is running high enough to transfer through.
By the way, Casey Cash's car is still pretty beat up, but Casey Cash is leading, so we don't care. Green flag back in the air. We have a time limit on the LCQ as well. Off into turn 1. They're 3 wide at the back again. Didn't we learn anything from this, boys and girls? It's like we got through it this time as they head down the back straightaway. So far, still green, and look out. We're going to get some lap traffic here in a minute. Cassidy Hines out in front, and Bryson Ruff's your new leader. As they head off into turn 1, there's 3 wide. Cash going the wrong way with that damaged race car, kind of stacking some cars up there. So it's Ruff, Putman, Brown, Grant Thompson up there into the 4th position and trying to work on some more. This is Grant's home track. He's won here before in a version of a Pro Truck type of series. Off the inside wall goes somebody. I think that was Cash. That's not the way to get around this track, Christian.
Yeah, Cash really struggling with that damaged car, but still running high enough to transfer right now. Looks like the goal is to just make it around the track and hope that nobody behind can actually push them that far back that they'll fall out of those transfer spots. But really, really bad handling right now on that car.
Caution. 3rd time here in the last chance qualifier, and Kersey Young is involved. Joe Valento, it looks like Connor was involved as well. Oh boy, what is Braden Connor doing? Well, it wasn't Braden Connor, it was somebody else. Somebody just turned down into Braden Connor down the front straight. And that was after the caution, actually. That's a different wreck. Boy, that's really interesting. So the wreck started on the backstretch, brought out the yellow with Kersey Young and Joe Valento. They came up off of turn number 2, and Valento. Joe Valento got awfully ambitious there. Kersey Young and Jay Juleson were side by side. Valento just went, well, Kersey got around, and then Valento got there late. There they go. And both of them make big contact down there on the inside of the track. And then what I was talking about was what we saw with Connor, but it was Eric Nascimento. Like, Eric Nascimento just comes right down into Braden Connor down the front stretch.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting incident we saw there on that front stretch. As you said, after the yellow came out, and I think that's probably going to be one for race control to take a look at. Didn't seem all that necessary, so to speak.
So this race starting to look more like the Bristol Derby 100 than the Snowball Derby.
Definitely got a lot of modified looking cars out there right now.
Meanwhile, Bryson Ruff's out front like, I'm good. This is going swimmingly for me.
The best place to be, as we saw in the heat races, the leader. Well, actually, I was going to say that we saw the leader able to stretch out, but that wasn't always the case. There was a couple of times where we saw the leader actually be the cause of the caution.
We've seen Jacob Putman already in this race was leading and then went the wrong direction at the wrong time.
Looks like this time he's going to be restarting on the outside, and we have seen it's been pretty difficult for the second place car to hold that outside line and actually get back in without losing a lot of spots.
Lights are out. Here we go. Double them up. And out in front of this one, it's Bryson Ruff and Jacob Putman. Grant Thompson and Cade Brown in row 2. And they just put the lights back on for another lap? Or are we going single file on the restarts? We're going single file. Race controls decided we're going single file on the restarts, and Bryson Ruff was scuffing tires when the green came out. That stacked everybody up, and the green flag's back out there nose to tail on back behind Ruff.
Much cleaner restart.
Jay Juleson with the crossover move here, and he's going to get around Sokol as they go into 3 and 4. Move Jay Juleson up a couple more spots on that restart. He's into the 7th spot now. Everybody spread out in front of them, and that's going to be it. Boy, this race is over after 8 laps. So we timed out on the LCQ as well. And officially, Bryson Ruff is your winner. Jacob Putman, Grant Thompson, Cade Brown, Cody Keemley, Dominic Carter, then Jay Juleson, Kobe Sokol, Joey Stearns, Nick Loden, Carson Lucas, and I am showing Katie Hedinger as the 12th and final transfer driver. We'll have to confirm that here. If that is accurate, it means that Kersey Young, Eric Nascimento, Cassidy Hines, Joe Valento, Casey Cash, Braden Connor, Brody Moore, and Holly Clark all will DNQ for the main event. But Casey Cash was leading the LCQ with like 5 laps to go and didn't get in. Hey, while we're warming up here for the main event, I want to show you something pretty cool here and remind all you fans out there that you can watch some of these stars on MAV TV as part of the Madera Speedway season out there on the west coast of California. And we want to show you a little bit of behind-the-scenes look at the champion in 2019 in the Pro Late Models and a graduate of the Junior Late Model class, Austin Herzog.
Austin Herzog is a third-generation race car driver that started out in mini cups and then won the inaugural 5150 Junior Late Model race in 2016, and the rest is history.
And then the first time he got out there and raced, he won, and it kind of shocked all of us, I think, and he hasn't stopped.
There was no better talent, I thought, than Austin Herzog in the Junior Late Models. He could have won every race he wanted to win.
But when he got into the Junior Late Model, it was like all of a sudden a switch went off in him.
All the years of watching his grandpa and his dad drive around this racetrack, he put it all together.
And it was so satisfying for us on MAV TV to see a driver with 6 Junior Late Model wins then move up the ranks into the pro late models, take a couple seasons, figure out how to navigate working with those veteran drivers, and then really hit on something in 2019. So
yeah, like I said, we've been really right there the past couple of years, but we finally got it, and it feels incredible.
Back here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, the virtual version of Five Flags, round number 2 of the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSports Series, presented by Madera Speedway. I'm Jason Galvin alongside of eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series iRacing star Christian Challoner, and we are getting ready for the 100-lap main event here at Five Flags Speedway, Christian. And the heat races in the LCQ were not as clean as I think everybody was hoping for after last week at the Bull Ring. The Bull Ring last week started kind of rough as well, and then about the midway point of the race, everybody kind of got their wits about them, and we had a nice little run towards the end of the event. How do you see the main event playing out here at Five Flags?
Well, I'd like to hope that a lot of the rough start to the evening in the heat, so what hopefully won't transfer through to the main event. Obviously 100 laps, so a lot longer for guys to cut their way through the field. And as we saw, it was possible for people to pass in the heats. It's just we saw there was a lot of incidences where guys would get loose and they'd have to really check up, and that would force a lot of 3-wide scenarios. And that was when the action really started. But hopefully we'll not see that as much in the main event.
Just about a minute left here in the warm-up for this main event, and right now, Austin Edwards looking pretty racy. Been out there in the warm-up, one of the better cars, and is your pole winner for the second straight week. And remember last week he led every lap of the main event at the Bull Rings. Edwards, veteran iRacer, trying to go back-to-back here. Five Flags Speedway. As the warm-up session is ready to come to an end, we want to remind you we do have some other sponsors and awards we keep an eye on here throughout the race. At halfway, your leader will win the halfway challenge presented by Raceface Telmed. There's a fastest lap of the race award that goes to the driver that sets the fastest lap in racing competition. That's presented by homesmiles.com. That was not Austin Edwards last week, by the way. And your Hard Charger Award presented by BEA Energy Drink. I'm going to guess the Hard Charger Award comes from 15th on back. Christian, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. One guy I'm looking out for that is Jay Juleson.
I think
Jay
five.
Juleson can maybe make some moves happen from the back. We've seen he got good pace.
100%. So here we go with the main event of the evening here at Five Flags Speedway. And let's take a look at the starting grid. And it is Austin Edwards. They call him the first place ace, the driver out of Southern California, and a real-life winner in the Madera Speedway 5150 Energy Drink Junior Late Model class, starting on the pole. Josh Cossack will start on the outside of the front row. Jaden Walbridge and Bradley Erickson in row 2. Landon Lewis and Elvis Rankin in row 3. Cameron Mullen and Robbie Keneally in row 4. William Cox III and Cabe McClenny in row 5.
And just outside the top 10, we got Barrett Palmers starting 11th in this main event. Obviously had to move his way up through the heat, only qualified in 16th, but now got a good shot at this. Alongside him is Seth Wise. Then we've got Bryson Ruff and Jacob Putman, two big features from our last chance qualifier. Behind them we got Grant Thompson, Cade Brown, and Rob Camille and Dominic Carter. And then in 19th and 20th, some contenders really for that Hard Charger award. We've got Jay Gilson and Colby Soper.
Row 11 is Joey Stearns, and Nick Loden is going to have to come from the back. And we saw Nick at one point up front in his heat race. And then Carson Lucas and Katie Hedinger are the final 2 cars into the main event. 24 cars, 100 laps. Yellow flags do count. There is a lucky dog. There is double file restarts for as long as the admins want to allow it. There's a 24 instant point limit and 2 fast repairs. You cannot pit for fuel or tires, only for damage repairs. And we are ready to go. $250 on the line to the race winner. And it's Austin Edwards who will bring us to the green. We're underway here in round number 2 of the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSports Series at Five Flags Speedway. And it's Edwards out in front of Josh Cossack with Bradley Erickson and Jaden Walbridge giving chase as they head off into turn 3.
You see Josh Cossack not able to hold the bottom there, being forced up to the top side already, going to lose that second spot.
Caution, your first of the night. Comes near the back of the pack, and around in turn 2 is Jay Juleson. Juleson is involved. And we'll have to see where this starts. There's a big checkup. Jay Juleson, who was one of the heavy contenders a week ago, already with a lot of damage here early on. Let's take a look at our GSRC replay. Comes on lap 2. Another look, and there's some blinking cars in front of Juleson, and it looks like that actually starts with Cody Keebley turning Cade Brown. And Jay Juleson had nowhere to go and gets kind of sandwiched there by Kobe Sokol. Juleson ends up the worse for the wear from it as he spins and catches the inside wall as well, and I think he even got a piece of Katie Hedinger spinning back around. So see what Juleson decides to do, but it looks like he's going to stay out and brave the damage for now. And the way these races have gone so far, Christian, I'm not sure that's the worst idea.
Yeah, it definitely might not be a bad idea to save up your fast repairs for later in the race. As we did see in the heats that the restarts were quite hectic. Then obviously one of my picks for the Hard Charger Award, not off to a good start there, or now actually gone all the way to the back.
The commentator's curse, Christian?
Yeah, I believe so. I have a tendency to do that. I've cursed people in other league races as well, talking about how good a night they're having, and then next minute we're bringing out a yellow because they're in the wall.
Does the Hard Charger apply if you restart from dead last on lap 6?
I believe it doesn't. I believe it goes purely off of grid position, unfortunately. Otherwise, he'd definitely be a big contender right now.
I was asking for Jay Juleson. Pacing on lap number 5, and they will double them up this time by, it appears.
Looks like there's a little bit of confusion on row 2 as to where the 7 car should be.
But they gave Austin Edwards an end of longest line penalty. I'm not sure what happened there. So that changes everything up front. Austin Edwards, for the first time, will not lead a race here in the Junior Late Model eSports Series. Off of turn 4, green flag is back out. And off into turn number 1, it's going to be Erickson side by side with Cossack. And Bradley Erickson jumps out in front and will become only the second leader in the history of this series after Austin Edwards went flag to flag a week ago. And boy, if you want an e-ticket ride now, somebody go mountain on board with Austin Edwards. A big wreck down the front straightaway. 2 cars were around. Looks like everybody else got through that scot-free till the end there. Boy, look out. Nick Loden almost got backed into by Cade Brown, who I think thought, hey, I got an idea. Let's put it in reverse and drive backwards. Probably not a good idea.
No, not one of the better ways to recover from a wreck. And obviously, Cade Brown with some heavy damage there. It looks like we see the 24 cars running really high up the track. And then Cade Brown, like, just trying to give a lot of space to that top lane, but unfortunately just ran straight down into the bottom and gets collected and sent around.
Kobe Sokol in the middle of that one again as well. Both of those cars going to have some heavy damage. In fact, Sokol then got a second dose of it from Brown, who did indeed put the car in reverse, it appears, and try to drive around, and then ended up backing into Nick Loden. So I'm going to say that Nick Loden and Cade Brown aren't giving each other Christmas cards right now.
Just looking at why Austin Edwards was sent to the tail end of the line, I believe it was because he didn't go on green on the initial stop.
Here's Austin Edwards. And Edwards, again, was your Victory Custom Trailers Fast Qualifier Award winner after sitting on the pole the second consecutive race. And on that restart, was able to make up a couple of positions. Of course, the wreck helped him. He's up to 20th after restarting 24th. And still a lot of time left, 89 laps here. But I tell you what, here's the one thing, Christian, with no tires, that is really a game changer for Austin Edwards. He's got to find a way to work his way through the field and save enough rubber to get back around the Ericssons and Cossacks and Walbridges of the world up front.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be rough for him. As you say, no tires, so he's going to have to push hard to get through. And he's also got to avoid any incidents that do happen in front of him. Obviously, we've seen the mid-pack is really the nexus of where those incidents are starting, and he has to make his way through there and then get himself back in the lead fight. It's going to be tough for him to do that.
Lap 13 on this restart, and it's gonna be Ericsson out in front over Cossack. The big battle for third. Walbridge and Rankin up off of turn number 4 right now, and behind them side by side, Landon Lewis and Cameron Bolin on the outside, and they're staying 2 by 2. So we're talking about a lot about Five Flags Speedway, Christian. Similar in size and even kind of in layout to the bull ring, as Bolin gets way out of shape and hangs onto it, loses a bunch of spots, and we got another wreck and a caution in turn number 3. And Seth Wise is involved.
Seth Wise, yeah, he had a moment coming off of 2, and then he got checked up on the backstretch and had a huge moment. Nearly caught it all the way down into 3, but just couldn't hold on to it.
And it was Jacob Putman who was behind him, and I just heard Seth Wise come on and ask the other drivers to maybe not be as aggressive on board with Putman. And boy, yeah, he gives Seth Wise everything he can handle and then some. And I think that's where Seth Wise's issues in 1 and 2 actually started, Christian. Putman got into him real early and then got into him again up off of 2, and Seth just never recovered.
Yeah, very much so. Like Seth Wise was already up the track in 1 and 2, obviously maybe a little bit of contact going on earlier in the corner, and then that really checks him up on exit, and it just looked like Putman just kind of refused to get off him and give him a chance to get back in the line, and then Wise chased it all the way down the straightaway and finally lost it going into 3.
Pacing on lap 17. This is our 3rd caution of the main event already. And it's Ericsson, Cossack, Walbridge, Rankin, and Lewis, your top 5. We'll run you through the field here. William Cox at 3rd. Robbie Keneally's up to 7th. Then it's Bolin, Cabe McClenny, who's had actually quietly strong performance here tonight between the heats and the main. He's just kind of going about his own business. And Barrett Palmers, who was one of our big movers a week ago, up into the 10th spot. Grant Thompson, this is his home track. So we mentioned he's won races here at Five Flags Speedway in real life, is back in the 11th spot right now. And behind Thompson is Cody Keemley. And then it's Jacob Putman, who we just talked about, Joey Stearns, Bryson Ruff, Dominic Carter, Nick Loden, Jay Juleson up to 18th, Carson Lucas 19th, Austin Edwards 20th. Whew. Loden, Juleson, Lucas, Edwards are 17th to 20th, Christian.
Yeah, and that's a really strong group of 4 drivers to have back there, and as you see, Jay Juleson's been able to recover a little bit better than Austin Edwards so far. Edwards not able to gain any spots on that restart. Still, well, actually he's just been scored up in 19th, but he's still kind of hovering around that 19th, 20th mark, whereas Juleson obviously went all the way to the back on the initial start and is already up into the 17th or 18th spot right now.
For the record, both Kobe Sokol and Seth Wise are being scored as 3 laps down, and Cade Brown is 1 lap down at the back of the pack. Seth Wise is still on pit road, towing to get his repair from that caution as the pace car peels off, and Bradley Erickson brings him back to the green. And boy, Jaden Walbridge got a great restart. Look at Walbridge almost pushing Erickson into turn 1, trying to get underneath Cossack. Cossack's going to power up off the corner on that outside line.
And Cossack really getting better on these restarts.
Oh, contact for the lead. Cossack into Erickson. Erickson goes around, and this is going to be problematic for several cars. A massive wreck off of turn 4, and more than half of the field is in it.
The road is definitely closed coming off of turn 4 there. As you say, started at the front and then nearly everybody piled in from behind. Did look like there was some contact on that bottom row, and it just sent Erickson into a huge moment he wasn't able to hold on to. And then everybody behind still coming in at speed.
Boy, Bradley Erickson did everything he could do to save that. And at the end, William Cox was just in the way of Erickson's spinning car. On board with Dominic Carter. Woo! Oh! I thought he got through there, Christian. And then he did. He probably thought he got through it.
Yeah, looked like he had an open lane right there, and he was making the attempt to go through it, and then the car from the top side just came down right in front of him. And looking at what started that, I'm not sure whether it started with Cossack getting into the back of Erickson on his own, or whether he had a little bit of assistance from Jaden Walbridge.
It looked to me like Cossack, and maybe we can get, I don't know if we can get another look at the top 3 as they came off of turn 2 on that restart. But Walbridge had a nose under Cossack, and it looked to me like Cossack tried to take advantage. Let's see if we get a look here on our GSRC replay up front. And let's just watch this restart here. We have a moment. They haven't doubled up yet. So we'll watch this last restart. Keep an eye on that outside front row, the 4 car. Doesn't get the best of starts, and the 7 of Walbridge does. And we'll see what happens as they come up off of 2, because it looked to me like Cossack tried to squeeze in between Walbridge and Erickson, and I think just got a little too hot into turn 3, Christian. Tell me what you see.
Yeah, you can see there, it looked like Walbridge checked up a little bit in 1 and 2, and then there was that slight gap for Cossack to get into, but really, really tight, and just on entry to 3 there, caught the back of Erickson and realized what was about to happen. Tried to check himself up, and that's how Walbridge got into the back of Cossack, but it did look like it came from Cossack trying to get into that gap and getting into the back of Erickson himself rather than having any assistance.
And race control has already decided we're going single file on restarts from here on out. So lap 24, and we're already going single file, and you know who didn't want to see that is Austin Edwards.
Yeah, back there now you've got Erickson with Edwards. Erickson currently scored in 16th, Austin Edwards in 17th, and as you say, single file restarts is just going to make their life so much harder to get back through. The double file gives you some opportunity to at least pick a lane that's really moving and get a couple of positions that way, but single file puts you a lot further behind the leader, almost double the distance. So even if you can't clear them, it's going to be difficult.
Say, on that wreck, Edwards and Nick Loden did a whale of a job not getting into it and getting woed up on the inside. They came out of that no damage, essentially. Edwards did come in, get a little bit of damage he'd occurred on that flag run, and we're back underway as the green flag is out on the single file restarts here. Jaden Walbridge leading Cossack. Let's ride with the number 4 car.
Trying to get really low on the racetrack, trying to run as close to that white line as he can. Looked a little bit better than Walbridge through 1 and 2 that time, and again through 3 and 4. Looks like Walbridge trying to really cut down late and get a big run down the straightaways.
Elvis Rankin keeping toe in 3rd. Walbridge, Cossack, Rankin have kind of checked out, and we get our first real green flag run of the main event.
Elvis Rankin's a driver we've not talked much about, but obviously he's shown good speed these two race meetings that we've had, and right now he looks like he's a good bit quicker than Cossack and might be able to make a pass for that 2nd spot.
Rankin all over the back of the 4 as they come up off of turns 3 and 4, and you're on board the hood. of the New Mexico driver, Elvis Rankin. Boy, Cossack with a big bobble there, and look at the 54, puts the power down. Cossack's going to try to close the door and really sails it off into 3, Christian.
Trying to make that top line work. Obviously saw he couldn't have cut down in front of Rankin on entry to 3, and looks like he's seating that position right now.
Good clean pass from Elvis Rankin. Now we'll see if he can go and run down Jaden Walbridge.
Now Walbridge out to an almost 0.7 second lead at this point, but Rankin now with some clean air. Let's see if he can run him down.
Boy, meanwhile at the back of the pack, Austin Edwards and Bradley Harrison are trying to make up some ground here, and they're both working their way around Robbie Keneally right now. Keneally, who was a strong competitor a week ago as well, as you look at them right now. This is the battle for 13th, 14th, and 15th. The Vegas odds are, books are not open on junior late model racing. The odds would have been against these drivers being back here, looking out the rear window of Ericsson, and Edwards clears Keneally.
It's definitely surprising to see Keneally back here like this. Obviously he had good pace last week at the bull ring, and I'm not really sure how he's actually ended up back in the pack like this.
Oh, a big stack up in front of them here, and somebody's into the wall and up on 2 wheels, and around they go. It's Bryson Ruff, and the caution is out. Everybody manages to avoid Bryson Ruff in the 24 car, and Ruff got some help from Nick Loden.
Nick Loden involved in a lot of incidents tonight. Looked like there he just lost the nose underneath Bryson Ruff and came up into him. Ruff, not really anything you can do. You can't save that car when he's got that much contact happening right on the exit of the corner.
Caution flag flies on lap 35 here at Five Flags Speedway. Great camera work by Dougie Beard and the gang here at the Global SimRacing Channel. Thank you for tuning in here. Round number 2 of the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSport Series presented by Madera Speedway. Madera Speedway showing strong here once again tonight. You look at the drivers who are affiliated with Madera Speedway, which is the home of the junior late models on the West Coast, and really the founding kind of track as far as this junior late model movement has gone, with their races broadcast on MAV TV. Been fortunate enough to be part of that broadcast crew for 2 years now, going into year number 3 once things settle down in the world and we get back to real life auto racing. Jaden Walbridge, a race leader, is a Madera driver. Elvis Rankin's been out to Madera before. Actually has jumped up on the mic. Been a pretty fun kid to listen to there. Grant Thompson in 6th place was the winner of the inaugural junior late model camp at the end of last year and made his debut. Cabe McClenny, Bradley Erickson, Austin Edwards, Robbie Keneally, all in the main event, all drivers out at Madera Speedway in the junior late model class. Seth Wise, who unfortunately is already out of this race as well. Pace car still has the lights on, so we'll pace for at least one more lap. Jaden Walbridge, a fun story, comes down from the Oregon area, and Christian, I'm sure that you'll have some respect for this here. His real racing helmet painted in honor of Ayrton Senna.
Absolutely. Definitely one of the most well-known drivers in the world, especially when it comes to road course racing. A little bit less known on the oval side of things, but well-respected all around.
Pace car peels off and the green flag is back out as Jaden Walbridge brings us back under power on lap 41 with Elvis Rankin into the back of him in 1 and 2. More contact for the lead. Walbridge got away clean, and here's Josh Cossack into the back of Rankin, who hangs on to it, and Cossack's still bouncing off of him, stacking up and checking up down the front straightaway. How did everybody hang on to that? Woo!
Great job by everybody to hold on to that, but that's really what we've seen, that when somebody gets into the back of another car, it checks up the entire line, and that's what's causing a lot of these wrecks, is that the incident happens high up the field, but then it just cascades through until somebody can't control their car anymore.
Oh, we got a car around the 3, pump that up into the wall. No caution.
Definitely looked like he got some assistance on that one. Like Jay Juleson.
No caution, Christian. That is going to ruin his night. That car is destroyed. He needs a fast repair.
Yeah, heavy damage there, heavy contact to the wall. Looked like he had some contact with Jay Juleson there going in the corner. And again, as we saw, you get tagged in the rear end. You just can't hold onto the car, and it shoots up the racetrack.
Boy, and don't look now, but look who's coming. Bradley Erickson is up into 8th and on the inside of McClenny, and here comes Austin Edwards working on Nick Loden inside the top 10 as well, closing in on halfway.
And further back in the pack, it looked like Carson Lucas just got turned around into 2, but no caution once again. He saved it on the apron.
Looks like he might have got a little help on that one from Palmers, who's been struggling further back and side-by-side with Bolin for 13th right now. Caution! As we close in on halfway, see who that is. Is it Cody Keemley? Oh no, it started in front of Keemley. He just ended up in it. 99, Cade Brown. Cade Brown, who just gotten waved around the pace car back on the lead lap, and I don't think this is Cade's fault, Christian.
It looks like again he got tagged by the 22 that time, Dominic Carter, going into 3, and as we keep seeing, as soon as they get tagged and the car starts to slide, it has a really nasty tendency of going straight up the racetrack and into the wall.
Cody Keemley, here's what he saw. Where to go?
Looked like he was about to make it through it and just got tagged by the car coming back around off the wall.
So this is going to take us to the halfway point. And our halfway challenge presented by Raceface Telmed goes to the number 7 car, Oregon's Jaden Walbridge, in that Lucas Oil Madera Speedway. Number 7 car, Keller Racing, that of course the team that he drives for, Madera, the Junior Late Model Series. Jaden Walbridge, a fast young man in real life in these race cars. And it felt like last year he was knocking on the door at Madera of picking up his first win, and you feel like this year is definitely going to be that year for Walbridge. Wave around is Kobe Sokol. Sokol is still several laps down, 3 in fact, now 2. Dominic Carter and Cade Brown both 1 lap down. Pace car comes down the front straightaway, and this time the lights don't click off. I thought we'd be 1 to green. Looks like 2 to green here for Walbridge. Let's run you through the grid here. Second half of this race is about to go green, and it's Jaden Walbridge leading Elvis Rankin. Josh Cossack's in 3rd. Landon Lewis up to 4th. Grant Thompson up 10 spots to the 5th position right now. Jay Juleson's up 13. There's your pick for biggest mover, Christian, and so far he would be the winner, up 13 spots to the 6th position. Bradley Erickson is down to 7th, but fighting back from that earlier wreck. Cade McClenny 8th. Nick Loden's also up 13 spots to 9th, and Austin first place. Ace Edwards, your pole winner and your winner a week ago, had to go to the back on that early race penalty, has fought back to the top 10. He still has 48 more laps to try to make his way through the field. Right on board with Austin Edwards here. Lights are out on the iRacing pace car. Here we go. Jaden Walbridge with control of the field. Remember, has to go on the green flag from iRacing, and there it is. We're back underway. here at Five Flags Speedway.
So it looks like the 22 has forced his way under the 12. Not able to quite complete the pass though.
Single file on back to about the 10th position, and then immediately just got around loaded to move into the top 10. Jay Juleson under attack from Bradley Erickson into turn 1.
Erickson being really aggressive and got to the bumper of the 12 there in 3 and 4 and nearly sent him around, but Juleson just accepting at this point.
Oh, McClenny got up into the side of Juleson there. And here comes Austin Edwards, the big old paw on the hood of that orange 18 car. On board with Austin Edwards as he works the back of McClenny. Oh, and Juleson and McClenny got together and they're still hanging on to it. Juleson still saved it. Unbelievable save from Jay Juleson.
Great save by Juleson, but he's been really roughed up right now, losing all those spots that he gained. Just hasn't looked like he's had the pace since the restart, and Austin Edwards there methodically kind of moving his way through, just about avoided being in that wreck.
Austin Edwards is up to 7th. Bradley Erickson, meanwhile, sticks his nose inside of Grant Thompson. That's a battle for the 5th position up off of turn 4. Erickson will complete the pass off of turn number 2.
Erickson with a big fight back himself right here. He had that earlier incident, had to come through from the back and doing a great job to be back up inside the top 5.
Caution, lap 61. And it's on the front straightaway with Joey Stearns involved in the 6 car. That's not where it started though. Let's see, it started up in front of Stearns, with Bryson Ruff going around. Stearns is just gonna have nowhere to go. Keep an eye on that white 6 car. And see what's happening in front. Boy, that was a big wreck. Started with Bryson Ruff. 31 in iRacing, but 24 on your screens, and Ruff got a lot of help from Dominic Carter.
See Carter get into the left rear and again sends the car around almost immediately. Unfortunate for Joey Stearns though, it looked like he had it missed and then just got clipped in his right rear as he was making it by and turned him straight to the wall.
Carson Lucas and Cade Brown also picked up heavy damage in that incident. In fact, I think Cade Brown actually inked out of this race because it disconnected it immediately, and that's usually a sign that you've reached your incident limit. In fact, I can tell you right now that Cade Brown and Colby Sokol are both retired from this event, along with Braden Connor at this point.
There are a couple of drivers that are pretty close to that incident limit. Just looking through the list right now, Dominic Carter and Carson Lucas, William Cox, all on 20. And one of our top 10 is also on 20. Grant Thompson has 20.
And 20 puts you dangerously close to being out. You're a 4 incident point crash from being disqualified. And Christian, I don't need to tell you, but there are plenty of times where you probably don't deserve a 4 ins, but you'll get one.
Yeah, that's got to be a big worry for somebody like Grant Thompson. Obviously running in 6th right now, has done a great job to be that high up in the field. But as we've seen, it can really turn around on you very, very quickly. And obviously with effectively no mulligans left, the next heavy contact puts him out of the race. So he's going to have to be really, really careful at this point.
Pace car lights should be off this time. And we'll be back to green next time around. Jaden Walbridge leading Elvis Rankin, Josh Cossack, Bradley Erickson, Landon Lewis. That's your top 5. Then Thompson, who we talked about, got to be worried about the incident levels. Austin Edwards in 7th. And McClenny, Keneally, and Cameron Bolin is your top 10 right now. Pace car off. Here we go. Green flag back out. Jaden Walbridge on the loud pedal. And right away, a great restart for Erickson. It looked like maybe the 4 car missed a shift. Cossack went the wrong direction. Maybe he was in the wrong gear on the restart. We'll see if Erickson picks up a black flag for passing on the inside, or if the marshals will clear. It is Landon Lewis now inside of Cossack up off the turn 4.
Horrible restart for Cossack.
Back to back.
Looked like it was Jay Juleson going around in 3 and 4.
Boy, the rough night continues for the iRacing veteran. And that's Bryson Ruff who got into him.
Poor Carson Lucas. Trying to get through on the inside there and gets collected, and I believe that inks him out of the race as well.
On board with Carson Lucas. And there it goes. It's over. You can see how quickly that happened for Carson Lucas. The reason the replay went away is because Carson Lucas went away. On to round 3.
And that kind of incident has got to be what somebody like Grant Thompson is worried about, because obviously it was not Lucas's fault, the initial the wreck that was happening in front of him. He was just trying to make his way through it, but you get tagged by that car. The way iRacing works is it doesn't try and assign fault to the incident. So if you're involved with it, it will hit you with a 4 incident point, as the same as it will anybody else who's involved in that wreck. So unfortunately for Carson Lucas, he picked up 4, and that meant that he was disqualified from the race.
Pacing on lap number 70 now, so 30 more circuits around the virtual 5 Flags Speedway. There's at least one more pace lap here.
It appears that Bradley Erickson's been given an EOL penalty.
Indeed. Chris Murdoch in race control has given Erickson the EOL. Boy, Bradley Erickson was inside the top 5. Not sure where that came from.
Wondering if it was related to his restart. Obviously we saw Cossack didn't get away so good, but it did look like Erickson jumped immediately to the inside to take advantage of it. Obviously race control didn't look like they were too impressed by that.
So the lights are off. And the pace car will pull off. And Jaden Walbridge will lead Elvis Rankin and Josh Cossack back to the green. Boy, Landon Lewis leaving a big gap back there as the green is out and everybody's checked up again. Walbridge didn't go. Look at this into turn 1. Here's Edwards under Grant Thompson. Thompson trying to roll the outside on Landon Lewis. That's the battle for the 4th spot. Thompson bounced it off the wall. Remember, he's got to be worried about incident points here. And here's McClenny to the inside. How about Cape McClenny up into the top 6 as he gets around Thompson down the front straightaway and into turns 1 and 2. Looking at the back of Landon Lewis's car, Austin Edwards, who's up into the top 5 with 26 more laps to go, Christian.
And this has got to be exactly what somebody like Jaden Walbridge doesn't want to see. They were hoping that Austin Edwards was not going to get back through the pack, and obviously already up in 5th. He's got 25 laps or so to get this done. I think you got to be worried. He's looking really good right now.
all over the back of Landon Lewis is Austin Edwards. At some point, though, it has to start, I don't want to say forcing the issue, because if you wreck, then you lose any opportunity to win the race. And Austin Edwards, I tell you, is a smart young man. Caution. Caution with 24 laps to go. I think Stearns might have been in that one again. He was indeed. Dominic Carter and Stearns again. And Dominic Carter's night has come to an end because of incident points. And you'll see it here as they touch, and then the 22 just disappears. Again, that is an iRacing controlled feature. You have a set amount of incident points per race for a car, and in this case there's 24. There's nobody who can save you at that point. The admins literally can't respond quick enough to save you, and I don't believe that the iRacing clear black flag function even works at that point. So if you ink out of a race, as they call it, or incident point out of a race, there is nothing in the world that can control that. And yes, indeed, as Christian and I alluded to, there are many a times where you maybe get unfair incident points. That's why there's 24 of them. And I know there's a lot of new iRacing users and viewers here. Christian and I will politely both tell you that 24 is a pretty generous number. What do you say, Christian?
Yeah, 24 is quite generous, especially for a 100-lap race. It's one of those where you really shouldn't be getting close to troubling it. If you are, then you're having a rough night indeed. So I'm really surprised we're seeing so many drivers actually hit that. Right now, I believe we have 4 that are DQ'd, and then a couple of others that are, as we mentioned, are very close. We saw on that last restart, Grant Thompson being extremely careful in terms of picking his battles and fell back to the 8th spot, but he doesn't really have a lot of choice. If he has another car contact, that's going to end his night, and right now he's on for a solid points day.
I think we get, what do we get for the 24 hours of Daytona? I'm trying to think. 40 maybe?
I believe.
Is it that
well,
much?
if I remember correctly, you were issued a drive-through penalty at 40, but you were hard disqualified at I think 150.
100. Okay, yeah. And I knew at some point early you started getting penalized for it. That is a grueling race. Have you run it many times?
I usually run it every year, and as you say, it is a grueling race. The track itself is actually not too difficult. It's one of the nicer 24-hour races that you do, but it's just a challenge of that many hours in the car.
24 hours is 24 hours, no matter the track you're at. Lights are off here on the pace car, and we are ready to get back underway. 24 hours of Daytona and also Le Mans. Just a couple of events that iRacing puts on in their official series. For those of you who are new to the service here, the Indy 500 and Daytona 500 are also part of that list. As the pace car pulls off, and Jaden Walbridge controls the field again. Green's back out, and again, Rankin and Cossack tries to jump it, and it's going to create a bit of a stack up, and Austin Edwards almost got his nose down there underneath Landon Lewis, but didn't quite work out as we get up off turn 2 clean with 18 laps to go.
So Edwards looked like he was going to try and force the move on Lewis there, but thought twice about it. It's a little bit of a poor exit off of 4, got very close to the wall there, but still holding on to that 5th spot.
A lot of beating and banging going on farther back, car in the wall, caution is back out with 16 laps to go.
And that caution... In that caution, it's actually claimed Grant Thompson as well. I was looking at him, and it looked like he had some contact off of 2. Put him up over that 24 incident limit, and that's the end of his night.
Oh, indeed. They were 3 wide. It was Thompson and Palmers and Bradley Erickson. They sandwiched together, and off went Grant Thompson. Did we lose Bradley Erickson as well? I'm looking. We might have lost them both in that same crash.
I believe even if we didn't lose him, he's been given another EOL.
Ericsson's still here with the EOL. Boy, so a rough ending to what was a great night for Grant Thompson at his home racetrack. We talked about Grant Thompson, one of several drivers in the Madera Junior Late Model Series on MAV TV. Along with your leader right now, Jaden Walbridge, Elvis Rankin up there in second. Austin Edwards is up to fifth. Cabe McClenny in sixth. Robbie Keneally is in seventh. A strong showing from the Madera Speedway crew.
This is playing really well into the hands of Jaden Walbridge. Obviously got that lead early on and hasn't relinquished it. The clock's ticking down, the laps are ticking down. It's getting ever harder for anybody behind him to challenge him. It looks like he has Elvis Rankin covered. Austin Edwards not able to advance any higher than fifth right now. Can't make his way past Landon Lewis.
We are closing in on the final 10 laps of this. Jaden Walbridge has essentially been the leader since Austin Edwards was given the early race penalty. And remember, not just battling for race wins here.
Do pay out prizes for the top 3 spots. Why drivers such as Josh Cossack are so keen to hold on to that third place, not wanting to give it up to Landon Lewis or Austin Edwards behind.
And also to think about the championship, Christian, $1,000 to the champion of this series. Pace car pulls off, green flag back in the air. Austin Edwards had to check up a little bit as Landon Lewis again slow on the restart, and that is really holding up Edwards in the 18 car. Rankin tried to dip down on the apron and get a run on Walbridge. He's right there, and here comes Cossack as well. We've seen that 4 car is not afraid to use the bumper.
Rankin really pushing this time. It looked like he had an opportunity off of 2, but just grabbed that apron a little bit too much. Not able to have that run into 3. Now he's got Josh Cossack behind, checking out as well.
And to go, Rankin caught the wall hard. Rankin hammered the wall, and Cossack's all over him now for second. Speaking of laying the bump. Oh, he gets him. Bumper, and Rankin goes around. Hangs on to it. Here comes Edwards around him. Elvis Rankin going the wrong direction. They're 2-3 wide down the front straight. Elvis Rankin just like that shuffled out of the top 3.
Yeah, Rankin's going to be furious about that. He'd obviously ran in that position for the vast majority of the race, and he's been dumped outside of the top 5 at this point. He's trying to make his way back past, but he's going to be way too far behind to get back to Cossack at this point.
We do have 2 green-white checkers available if we need it. Jaden Walbridge leading with 7 laps to go as they come up off of turn 4, and we look at the battle for 6, and it's Keneally in the 1 and the 54 of Rankin trying to work his way back up. Surprised Rankin has that much pace, as much damage as that car took.
Now he's under attack from behind. He's going to lose that spot, forced out onto the top side.
It's Bolin and Loden right behind him.
Loden's actually recovered into the top 10. He's up in 9th right now. Might have a
Battle
shot at
for
7th.
third, and Lewis throws a block on Edwards, who gives up the bumper. Austin Edwards around Landon Lewis and back up onto a podium position. Lewis threw a hard block, and Edwards with a perfect bump and run. Landon Lewis has disappeared. Did he just ink out with McClenny? I believe he did. Yellow. We're going to get a green-white checker.
Looked like we had some contact that right there with Rankin on the front stretch.
Take another look at your GSRC replay, and it's Rankin and Bolin get together. And boy, Cameron Bolin That's just one of those cases right there, Christian, where the spotter says car high and Cameron Bolin said, I don't care.
You see Bolin on the bottom lane here, but just not staying down there. Rankin obviously to his outside, and not anything that Rankin can do there. Bolin just went straight up to that top lane.
If Elvis Rankin has a fast repair, this might be the time to go take it, given how few cars are left, but he's staying out.
Right now only 9 on the lead lap, and we did lose Landon Lewis in those battles. He hit that 24 incident limit and was disqualified.
We are going to get our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish here at Five Flags Speedway. Looking at Cossack in second. And boy, you think things are going to pick up. Josh Cossack has not been afraid to use the bumper. And the other thing to consider here, there's a 45-minute time limit on this session, and we are dangerously close to that, which means this race could go official at any second.
Looks like we might have the green-white check.
Jaden Walbridge out in front of Cossack and Edwards with Cave McClenny and Robbie Keneally here. We'll have to see if we get a shot at a green-white checkered, or if the timer runs out first, and it is awfully close as they come up off of turn 4, and this time around should give us that idea. And the pace lights stay on the pace car, which should mean this time by the checkered flag will wave for Jaden Walbridge. Pace car comes through turns 3 and 4, and Jaden Walbridge in the Lucas Oil Madera Speedway 7 car will come across the stripe, and they're gonna, the lights go out now. Okay. It looked like iRacing was gonna hand the win to Jaden Walbridge, and instead iRacing's gonna let them take a crack at a green-white checkered.
Gives an opportunity to drivers like Josh Cossack to make something happen on this last restart.
Well, business is about to pick up. Here we go. 4 Madera drivers and a North Carolina kid. Green is out. Bad restart for everybody. Edwards got into the back of Cossack into 1. Contact for the lead. Edwards to the bottom of Walbridge off of turn 2. New leader, Austin Edwards. McClenny into second. Walbridge settles into third off of turn 4. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Five Flags. Austin Edwards will bring it around and celebrate a win. It is Edwards victorious at Five Flags in the most improbable of fashions. Austin Edwards is the winner, and boy, do we have to figure out what else is going on. It looks like the checkered flag had waved on the restart lap, so we went green and white, which means Jaden Walbridge gets credit for third, and it will be Edwards, McClenny, and Walbridge your podium. A Madera Speedway sweep of the top 4, with Josh Cossack coming home in 5th. Austin Edwards celebrates another win, and we'll be back with Victory Lane interviews here on the Global SimRacing Channel.
Hello everybody, Kenny Shepard here from the Madera Speedway. You know, we take a lot of pride in the program that we have built at Madera to showcase the top talent in the country from the Madera Speedway on our MAV TV show. And we're very proud to sponsor this iRacing series for our stars from the Madera Speedway to compete against other top talent from all over the country. We look forward to seeing everyone very soon as we get the season kicked off at the Madera Speedway. Until then, have fun and be safe.
Welcome back to Five Flags Speedway and the virtual victory lane for the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSport Series presented by Madera Speedway. Austin Edwards goes back-to-back in a thrilling finish here at Five Flags. And let's take you through the final results of this one. It is Austin Edwards. They call him the first place ace for a reason, and he takes the win. Cabe McClenny second, Jaden Walbridge, Robbie Keneally, Josh Cossack, your top 5. How about Nick Loden comes home in 6th place? Nick Loden, for that 6th place finish, receives the Hard Charger Award presented by BEA Energy Drink. Cameron Bolin 7th, Katie Hedinger 8th, Elvis Rankins 9th, and William Cox III is 10th.
And just missing outside the top 10. Yeah, Joey Stearns involved in a lot of incidents tonight. Comes home 11th, 7 laps down. Alongside him, Landon Lewis. Then moving into drivers that were DQ'd early in the race, we have Bradley Erickson in 13th, Bryson Ruff in 14th. Yeah, Barrett Palmers, unfortunately, never able to show the pace that I believe he had in 15th. Alongside him, Grant Thompson 16th. Then moving to Dominic Carter in 17th. And then my pick for who I thought was going to be the hard charger had a great start to the race, but unfortunately ends up scored 35 laps down, is Jay Juleson. Then rounding out the top 20, we had Carson Lucas in 19th and Cade Brown in 20th.
And in 21st place, Colby Sokol and Jacob Putman, Cody Keemley and Seth Wise, your 24 finishers in the main event. The Fast Race Lap Award presented by Homesmiles.com goes to the aforementioned Bradley Erickson. Bradley Erickson ran a 16.831 for his fastest lap of the race, but as we mentioned, did not finish. Let's go to the virtual victory lane, and somebody who I'm sure probably still can't believe he actually won the race for the 2nd week in a row, Austin Edwards. Holy cow, kid. How did you do that?
To be honest with you, Jason, I am still processing this. I don't know. This was by far the most interesting race I've had in a long time, and I've got a little bit of work to do still because somehow at the beginning of this race, I had a little bit of a panic. That's why I jumped to start there. I did get, in a way, sabotaged. My steering offset was somehow set to negative 50 degrees by the time I graded on the pit lane, and then you can't change it when the green flag drops. So I was driving the whole race while turning 50 degrees to the left to go straight and even more in the corners. So that was by far the hardest race I've ever been through, not only making it through the field, but also dealing with that steering offset. My spotter, Matt, got it through me greatly, and man, I'm out of words here.
Unbelievable. There's nothing like driving the whole race with your steering wheel off like that. You had to go to the back because of that EOL. You still drove through the field. With 10 laps to go, you were in 5th place, and those last couple restarts shook out the way they did. Walk me through what you saw on the green-white check.
Man, that green-white checkered, I just saw complete chaos. I knew the 6 car in front of me was very antsy to get his first win, and Jaden Walbridge up there in first was definitely eager to get his first win on the series too, and I knew they were definitely going to go at it as hard as they could. I didn't expect them to go full-on contact into turn 1 as hard as they did, but I gave them just enough room. I gave Josh a little push there, tried to help him out even, but they ended up getting together there, and I went to the inside, went on through, and just kept it smooth in the last few turners, and it worked out perfectly.
Well, congratulations, Austin. $250 more into your pocket. Hey, this could be like a full-time job for a teenager. You made $500 in 2 weeks driving virtual late model.
Man, let me tell you, I've never made this much money in my life. I'm having a blast doing so.
Who needs to mow lawns, right? Congratulations, Austin. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
Austin Edwards, your winner for the 2nd week in a row, and Christian's caught up with 2nd place in a great run for a young man who lives right down the street from me in Bakersfield.
Okay, you restarted on that last run in 4th. Only 1 lap to make it happen, and you must have thought that Christmas came early when you saw both the leader and 2nd place go up the racetrack in a 1 and came home 2nd tonight.
Yeah, I really just was trying to follow Austin through and just finish the race because we were close to being DQ'd and just ended up working out.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty rough night for most drivers out there. We saw a lot of drivers actually get DQ'd, and just looking at the race results here, it looks like you came home with 20, so pretty close, like you said. Only 1 more would have taken you out of the event, but started the feature in 10th and came home 2nd. That's pretty good points, and you must be happy to pick up some money for this race.
Yeah, very. All week I've been practicing with Jay and Austin and Robbie, and I was probably the slowest out of all of them and just had to work my way through the field at the race.
Well, you did a great job, and we had a great time watching you cut through the field with that great scheme that you got on there, that bright yellow car. It makes you easy to pick out of the field, and looked like it was probably a race of attrition and really difficult on the restarts themselves, and we saw a lot of wrecks happening early. How do you kind of mentally sort of pick through that and pick up how to make something happen in a race like that?
Really, I just kept it calm and just was trying to work my way through the field, and that was my first time doing single file restarts, especially on here, and I've had the game for 5 years, and that was just a different experience, so that was pretty fun.
Well, like you handled it well, and before we let you go, there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to this week?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Dobitz, Less Hard Tires, just mainly everybody for putting the show on and coming out and watching.
Well, thank you for coming and chatting with us, and congratulations on the second place finish.
Yeah, thank you.
And on to our third place finisher, and Jaden Walbridge. You come home in third, you make some money, you're going to be up there, if I do my math right, I think you're in second or third in points, and all of that probably sounds really great unless you account for the fact that you were a lap away from $250 in the win. Walk me through the final lap, Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing pretty good all night, as you obviously saw. I was controlling the restarts pretty good, and then earlier on in the race, that car turned the leader, so I knew he was gonna pull some. So I didn't expect it to come that hard. He just went wide open in turn one, and screwed us both really. It's unfortunate because I obviously dominated all night, but I don't know how I'm second in points, to be honest with you. Your races didn't go too good.
They didn't go too good, but you ended up well inside the top 10 in both of them with the third place here tonight. So, again, that was my unofficial kind of guesstimate looking through it here. You might be a little farther down, but you're certainly within striking distance of Austin there. So, a great run for you tonight, Jaden. It was so close to being the winner there, but you still did a heck of a job hanging on to it and coming home in third.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jaden Walbridge, third place finish. You can certainly hear how disappointed he was there at the end of that race. Well, that's going to do it for here from the Virtual Five Flags Speedway. Our next race is April 16th, 1 week from today at Myrtle Beach Speedway. And our plan is once again to be on the air a little earlier in the afternoon with heat races and the LCQ, and then the main event for round 3 of the Mobil 1 Junior Late Model eSport Series presented by Madera Speedway. I want to thank all of our sponsors that make this race happen: Mobil 1, Madera Speedway, Raceface Brand Development, Racecraft 1, Victory Custom Trailers, HomeSmiles.com, BEA Energy Drink, Filia Design, and Raceface Helmet. Big thank you to everybody here at GSRC, Sean Ambrose directing, Dougie Beard, turning the camera knobs there, Christian Challoner, my co-commentator tonight. If you want to hear more of the great music provided by June Lalonde, check out the web address on your screen and all these great programs that we use to help produce these broadcasts on GSRC. Plenty of more action coming your way on the Global SimRacing Channel and the iRacing eSports Network over the next couple of weeks. GSRC producing, and you'll see those events coming across your screen as we speak. Well, that's going to do it. For everybody here at GSRC, I'm Jason Galvin. Congratulations to the winner. 2 weeks in a row, it's Austin Edwards, winner in round 2 here at Five Flags Speedway. Until next time, remember, the only one who remembers when you come home in second is your wife and your dog. Good night, everybody.